welcome. I am here today doing a vlog pretty much of like what I've got up to today, living on my own out here in the middle of nowhere. Yes, I'm on my own. Trey is away with his parents right now, and then we're going to be away from the property actually for probably around a month, hopefully less, but we'll just have to see. Got things that I need to get done in London, like boring paperwork stuff, but I have to go. Annoyingly, it's right at the start of spring, so I am today taking advantage of this beautiful day. Oh my god, it's so hot. It feels like 30 degrees. I think it's about 24, but there's just no wind. The sun is out. It's really hot. It's like, I don't know what the date is, but it's around the 11th of March, I think. So getting really good weather here in the subtropics. I'm literally in shorts and a little top. Need to be getting stuff done in the garden before we go prepping it. I'm waiting to get hold of some like plastic sheeting where I can like cover up my beds so that they don't get covered in weeds, and they're ready for planting as soon as I get back. And I need to like feed the earth with mulching and manure, and there's just a lot to do. Need to cut the grass. I've done a bit of tidying up this week of things. We have a garden project which you can see behind me, is that like pyramid bed that we're building. That won't get finished till we get back. It's too much of a job for me to finish in these last few days. Basically, I do have a week until I leave, but my sister is coming. I've not seen my sister in almost a year, and probably a year actually. And she's coming to look after the horses for me while I'm away, and I'll get a week with her. So I did want to film a vlog before that because I know I'll be too busy then. I might play around with planting some seeds in pots that I'll just leave out and hope that they do something for me. I will show you what we've been up to in the garden, how the garden is looking right now. You know, just try and share a bit of my day with you for this vlog, the kind of thing I'll get up to on a day living here on my own. It's easier on days like this where it's sunny and I can get outside, and it's just lovely today. So peaceful out here, so quiet. Just hear the birds and like stuff starting to bloom. One of my fruit trees is like blooming, beautiful blossoms, which I'll definitely share with you. Also, I haven't been very active on this channel, and that is because we was doing some renovations in the kitchen, so I might show you later like what we've done. There's nothing amazing, like, you know, there's nothing in, but we're like getting the bones ready. We've ripped everything out, but I will do a video probably eventually of like the transformation of the kitchen once it's all done. Again, we won't be finishing that until we are back from London. So sadly, you know, projects get started and they have to wait, and it sucks that I'm not here for the start of the growing season, but luckily we are in the subtropics here, so we have a really long growing season, so hopefully I'll still get some good grows in this year. Yeah, a similar thing happened last year and we still got a lot of good grows in, and considering the garden was like, there was no garden, it was just a forest at that point. It was so overgrown. But I'm really happy with how the garden is looking right now. If I compare it to how it was, this overgrown forest, and it's just really starting to, you know, come together, and I can start seeing this beautiful cottage garden I envisioned, the bare bones of it anyway. So how are you? Let me know in the comments below. I missed you, and yeah, let's get on with the day. Let's go into the garden and see how it's looking. I haven't done anything. Actually, I did a little bit this morning after the horses. Right now, we annoyingly have this hose and this electrical wire like running through the garden, to power the horses and feed the horses water and stuff, but looking for a different solution for this because it annoys me having this running through. It gets in the way of the tractor. So as you come in, you can see that the garden is just really looking pretty, like tidy. You know, we don't have any blooms really just yet, apart from this beautiful blossom tree here. And I think this is an apricot tree. Those blossoms are so pretty. And those look stunning. This is an old tree, it was here. Oh, I've noticed that tree starting to blossom too, not as many. That's a plum tree. The apple trees aren't blossoming yet. So all these vines on here are like passion flowers, not passion fruits, passion flowers. I wish they were passion fruits. And then this is some like jasmine that's just overgrown. It was meant for an arch eventually over the house, but we'll see. Okay, so as you come in on the left, I have what I call my zone 1 bed. Permaculture friends will know what I mean. It's stone lined with local stones that we just foraged. And this has some like herbs mostly that survived the winter. So we have sage plant survived, thyme, rosemary, oregano, lavender. I harvested all of this, but this is my lemon verbena that I'm hoping will come back. And another sage plant. So there's lots of space here for more plants to plant up when we get back. Here we've just got a tarp over this because this is another area that we want to plant up when we're back, and this will help all the de-weeding we did, you know, stay weed free. Doesn't look great. The pond definitely needs filling up. We did want to drain it this year and dig it out deeper, but yeah, that just was a job we never got round to, so probably have to leave it as it is and fill it up again. There are frogs in there. This is the pyramid bed project. Only this one bed is sort of sealed up at the end here, and I've started filling it with mulch and manure and cardboard. But if I step back here, you can sort of see what we're trying to do here. And obviously when these are all filled up with earth, it's going to look a lot better. There's like a stairway there. So a little bit of building, finishing the ends of the beds. The stairway needs to be finished, and it needs to be completely filled with earth. But these we're hoping will help with our root vegetables, because with this clay soil, we've really struggled with our root vegetables last year. They couldn't get deep enough. But it's pretty huge. It was a big project. It took us a while. The raspberries are looking sorrowful over there, that line of raspberries. Need to get some proper support for them put in. This is like I don't know, like our archery zone, which has some fruit trees. We have our citrus trees back there in the corner, these hibiscus shrubs, but it's overgrown, so I need to cut the grass in here today, and that will help me get more mulch in for my beds. So I am going to plan to mow this today. So then over here, I really feel like, you know, along here and over this part of the garden is looking really pretty. We got the beautiful olive tree here, and we'll look at this bed. So these are what I call like my stone beds, or my tea garden beds, even though not everything in here is for the tea garden, but the majority of it is sort of stuff you can have in tea. We have more rosemary, more sage, another sage hidden under here. I didn't realise that was being hidden here by these are dragon snaps. I just can't believe how well the dragon snaps survived through all of winter. I planted them at the end of summer and they're still here looking beautiful, and then they'll be blooming soon enough and they'll be amazing. Here we have 2 lemon balms. There's like a weed inside of this lemon balm. 2 lemon balms which survived winter as well, which really impressed me. And these are 3 hollyhocks which are going to grow tall, beautiful flowers. Not necessarily for the tea garden, just to look beautiful. And that's another lemon verbena which hopefully will come back. So you can see the kind of shapes that we've created with these stone beds. They're very wavy and beautiful. I'll get the drone out later in the year and when everything's looking prettier with blooms so we can see it from above. Over here I got some surprise, like a type of dandelion coming up. So I left those in, they're very pretty. They weren't here last year. It's a nice surprise and I didn't plant them. We have more thyme, more lavender, and all of these are dragon snaps along here, thriving. And then behind the dragon snaps is my line of rose plants. So my roses, it's my rose walkway along here. So I'm gonna have there's roses over there in that little stone path there, and roses all along here. I love my rose walk path, and I want to have roses along that line as well eventually. So this, I have put manure down and I need to finish mulching it with grass, and then that's ready, like done. And that's like, yeah, we're going to get some weeds through that mulch, but it will just help feed the ground. And we will have to weed these beds a little bit because they've got plants in. I can't just cover them up with a tarp. And then here we have this kind of eye-shaped stone bed with my pentagram in the middle. The top of the pentagram is facing north, and it's looking a bit worse for wear. It's cracked a lot under the pressure of the plants that were in there last year, but it still holds the shape somewhat. And you probably think, like, what is that patch of weeds? It's actually like self-seeded chamomile. So I don't really want to, I'm not going to get rid of it because I like chamomile tea and I harvest chamomile. So it's not flowering yet, but we should get a good harvest from this. Plus I want to plant more. It originally was just in that tip of the pentagram, so it's really spread itself. There's lots of weeds in between the chamomile, if you're wondering about these pretty blue flowers. But yeah, really happy. At the end here I had, I think, milk thistle, and they're just, oh, such prickly, not fun to harvest plants. So I really don't see me planting them again, so I dug them all up. Hopefully, I know they can be quite a problem with self-seeding, so hopefully they don't come back because they're just prickly. They don't look that pretty. They have great medicinal benefits, but it's such a headache, like trying to get the seeds out for that. They're very hard to harvest the seeds, they're so prickly. So I am not going to be doing milk thistle again, sadly. I will put something else in this bed. And here we have our chill zone. You might think, oh, it's right by the road, but like literally 5 cars a day might go along here. Maybe a bit more than that, but it's most of the time this road is quiet. You have the beautiful chill out zone with the hammock between these two cherry trees. Have a nice little design that Trey built, because originally this was the deaf altar, but we've moved it over there now for the little dead animals we find around, and we used to keep them under here, but now this is the best place for the hammock here. So here we have this beautiful tree which isn't blossoming yet, but it will, and it will look beautiful. And we have Isis down here. This is Trey, mostly Trey's little meditation spot, but I love to hang out here too. And some surprise daffodils, which is a joy to see. This is a big, massive rose bush, like the old school roses. I think they're called dog roses. But that isn't coming back to life yet, and it's just covered with weeds underneath. So I would like to next year cut it back, well, at the end of this year cut it back, but I don't want to do that yet because it's probably going to start blooming over spring, so we'll see. So here we have our wavy beds, or sometimes I call them my ocean beds, and there's a horrible tarp down here which we just only had this. We need to get more, just because all of these beds we're going to cover with tarp. But first I'm doing this process, which I'll show you, to feed the earth, and putting down some old horse manure, and then first I put down the old hay, like it's just hay that I would have thrown away that the horses won't eat, and then on top of the hay I put the horse manure, and then on top of the horse manure I want to put the grass mulch if I have enough. And this will just like really feed the clay soil and rot down into the clay soil, and it would be better for growing in, hopefully by the time we get back, because everything will be covered in a tarp so no weeds can grow through it, and that will just make planting so much easier when we get back. And I will probably try and tarp up the triangle, but the chances of me doing that is very slim, so that will be a big job sorting that out when we get back. But the most important thing is that these beds are ready, so as soon as we get back I can start planting. So up here is where we had our tomatoes last year, and I know I should rotate, but I will just do one more year here I think with the tomatoes. Well, I might plant something else, but it's such a good spot here for the tomatoes. Get sun pretty much all day, and it's a nice flat ground for them. So yeah, I know you're supposed to move around where you're planting stuff, and I do plan on doing that. I am going to do one more year I think here. Tomatoes are going to top up like a big massive bed here for those again. So the weeds will be all cleared out. Somehow we still have celery growing. It died and came back. So we got some celery. This is our fire pit. And yeah, I need to cut the grass even more down here. So here you see our fruit trees. And yeah, we didn't get more fruit trees planted as I wanted to last fall, so yeah, the fall is the best time to plant fruit trees, so I just have to wait another year to do that, sadly. And I have all my compost heaps right at the back there. So there is the food compost in the crates, and then on the ground is the horse manure compost. So yeah, garden is looking a lot better, but there's still, as always, so much work to do out here. Oh, and I forgot, I mowed down all these beds because they were just overgrown like crazy, and then I just couldn't mow down the marigolds because they've just been in constant bloom. There's always been some, obviously you can see some have died off, but then they just come back so well. It's so pretty. So maybe I should harvest some of these and dry them out, or just, I might, to be honest, I think I might just leave them here for the bees. What I might do is just cut out all these dead ones. And originally I was going to pull them out and just tarp over these whole beds, and I might still do that. But it's so hard because they're just so pretty, and I don't have a lot of blooms out here for the bees. So it would be probably nice to leave that for them. Anyways, I'm babbling on, and you can just see this walkway, how overgrown it's got. Like, you can barely see the walkway anymore. So we'll tarp over the walkway too. It'll be easier to deal with when we get back, because the idea of the tarp is that it kills everything off. But yeah. Just feel like if you've been following me a while and you knew what my garden looked like before, it was just, there was no definition. It was just all a big overgrown forest. So the fact that we've created these beds, and you know, we grew stuff in it even last year, on our first year, and like, oh, it just warms my heart. Especially like this bed, my tea garden bed, it just looks amazing. It's not exactly as I planned, because the plan was everything in it can be used for a tea garden, but I have the snapdragons and the hollyhocks, which I think you can eat them, but they don't taste particularly good, and so I don't know why you would. But it's like, oh, they're thriving, I'm not going to move them. And I feel like once they're grown up and blooming, they'll just really add to this. So there will be tea garden stuff mixed in, and that like eye-shaped bed with the pentagram and that little round bed at the end, I'll make sure they're all tea plants. So yeah, it's looking great. Very happy. Time to get on the lawnmower. Okay, so I won't be getting much work done in the garden because I have a puncture, and this is like, the thing to pump it up with is all bent out of shape, so I couldn't even pump it up, which I would normally do. I don't know how I did that. Yeah, it's really annoying. Definitely won't get as much done because it's so hot, and I can do some with the wheelbarrow, but it's annoying. I really wanted to cut the grass in there. Oh well. Get a little bit done by hand, and I will maybe plant seeds instead. Okay, so without a tractor and trailer, with the wheelbarrow, I managed to finish filling out this bed and that bed with the manure, and I've grass mulched that bed, the pentagram, the edge of this eye bed. The rest of this bed, if you remember, it wasn't mulched, and then over there, that little rose bed I mulched as well. Oh, I'm out of breath. I need to have a break. and just really frustrated that my tractor got a puncture and that I can't mow, because normally that's like a good break from the heavy work, is mowing. And yeah, I did have a mini break lying on the hammock, but yeah, I feel like I can't go and get a lot of stuff like the heavy hay out of the horse's track to put down here. You see, I did a bit of that this morning, but this is like one wheelbarrow's worth, just this edge here. So I'd have to be going back and forth, back and forth. I need my big trailer. But anyway, I don't want to moan. Who wants to listen to moaning? So, yeah, I'm going to have a little break. And I might even arch. I would never normally arch without Trey here. But as I can't mow the grass, and I've also run out of grass mulch. That's why I didn't finish this bed. Why I just did the edge of the eye. Because I feel like mulching the edge is important. It can get drier, but also the weeds can come and like cover stuff more over there. But yeah, annoyingly I've run out of grass mulch. I could finish this off with hay mulch, but in these sort of flower and herb beds I'd rather have a grass mulch. Oh look, there's a hawk of some kind about to dive down. Oh, it's a white one, a white bird of prey. On to my last outdoor job of the day. I just filled up these pots with some potting soil, and I'm going to seed them. I've watered them as well. It's just easier to bring them out here because the soil's really dry, and then water them. So I'll just be planting them up. I'm gonna like start with my herbs and tea flowers, and then just see where we go. I might get more planted as well. Let's see. Okay, me and my sister Kelly, we just did the hard job of putting down the compost and the hay, and then tarping over all of these beds. It's a lot harder job than it looks, eh, Kel?
Yeah.
So we've just made sure that all the edges are really weighted down. Yeah, so it's looking awful, but it's gonna it's gonna kill everything off. So when we come back from London in like a month and a half roughly, everything should be dead underneath and ready for planting. So this is the tomato bed, and then we've also extended the top along the top of the beds so that we can create a kind of pathway here. And we decided to leave the marigolds to live, so we cut the turf out around the marigolds. Yeah, hopefully it's all worth it.